mean, in the realm of like the 50,000 different things that you do that are art related, was singing ever? Or
I did musical theater.
Are you serious?
I wasn't very good, but I was like, I did it in high school, and I love theater.
I did musical theater.
Nice.
What were you in?
Let's see. Freshman year was Hairspray. Sophomore
You got to do
year
Hairspray?
was Guys
jealous.
and Dolls.
Oh my God, who were you in Guys and Dolls? Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
I wasn't like anyone really.
You were a doll.
Yeah, I was a doll.
I don't know if that's how they put it. Yeah.
And then we did Oliver. I was one of like Fagin's like kind of like children. And then senior year was West Side Story, which was
Why
my
did
favorite.
you get to do all the good ones?
We got good ones.
Yeah.
And in West Side Story, I was like, you know Maria's like girlfriends when they're in like that dress shop and they sing.
Yeah.
I was in that kind of crew.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any interest in, I don't want to use the word interest. You didn't end up pursuing anything musical theater related because that's a heavy slate of good.
I didn't. So that was high school. And then in college, I was like sort of interested. But again, I was never like, I was good at acting. I just was never the best singer and like okay at dancing. So in college, I was like, I'll do something theatrical. So I tried out for like everything that was like in the arts kind of. I didn't know what I wanted. And then in college I ended up in a sketch comedy group that also did like musical stuff.
Okay.
So we did like songs, dances. It was mostly comedy focused, which like was what I was better at, like just like comedy acting. And so it was perfect.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Before we keep going, I did introduce the tea for those who are
Okay.
sleeping at home. All right, so the tea that we are drinking for those sleeping at home is Bird and Blend's Mint Chocolate Rooibos. It is, I'm so excited. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
It's a little hot, so blow on it because I don't want you to burn yourself. I'm in. I like it.
Oh, that's great.
I like it a lot.
It's kind of a gentle mint. It's
I
not like a
know.
crazy strong. I mean, I love strong mint too, but it's kind of subtle.
I like it. I don't know if you're getting the cocoa shells in there. If you're not, I think when it cools
Not
down,
yet,
you might.
but I think I will.
I mean, listen, Bird and Blend, you may need to step up your cocoa shell game.
Yeah, more, please.
I don't know. But I want to go back. Okay, wait. So I know you did that stuff in college. If memory serves, you are an East Coaster from earlier conversations. Yes. East Coast, DC.
Grew up in DC, went to school in Philly, and then moved to LA after college.
Okay. Can we talk DC for a minute?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't want to be... I'm going to have a very controversial take on DC.
Okay.
I have never sweat more in a place. I don't think in my life I went out with friends in a t-shirt, not a button down, in a t-shirt. And by the end of the night, legitimately, it was a different color because I had sweat through it. How do you do it?
I think you get used to it a little bit. LA is the driest place ever. Also, where did you grow up?
New York.
Okay. But aren't New York summers like so brutal too?
They're sweaty, but like DC, I felt like I
a
was
swamp.
swimming in my own pool.
It's a swamp
Yes,
for sure.
It's terrible.
I think maybe Florida or like somewhere in the South might be just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah, my
but
mom lives in
DC's
Florida.
unexpected. It's so unexpected. You don't think that it'll be
I didn't.
sweltering wet jungle like that, but
I thought
it
it
is.
would be great.
Yeah.
What was it like? I mean, so you grew up there,
Yeah.
like, so you were used to. I imagine you're used to the swamp.
Yes.
But you ended up moving to LA. So did you love it there?
I loved growing up in DC. I
Okay.
really did.
Okay.
It's kind of like the real DC is not the DC you think, like
Hit me with that.
well, people think of DC as like a very just the political place where it's very white and kind of collared shirts, and people think Capitol Hill, of course.
I'll admit that does cross my mind.
Yeah. And what's funny is like that kind of whole world, a lot of them live in Maryland or Virginia and then commute in to do Capitol Hill stuff.
It's a scam.
Right. And so DC, at least for a long time, was called Chocolate City because it was such a African American,
Wow. Okay.
majority city.
Yeah.
Since like in the last 10 years, it's gotten like a lot more gentrified and more white. But even at least for me growing up, it was like extremely diverse.
Yeah.
Pretty working class.
Yeah.
It's such a small place. You can get from one end to the other really fast, and it feels like a real city. You don't feel like small town when you're there, but it feels digestible enough where you can kind of navigate it. And so growing up there, like high school, I had a blast. There was like so much stuff to do. Like in the summer, just like so many outdoor events.
Yeah.
Like, shopping's great. Like the food's great. Music.
Do you own because I do this and I'm asking because I do it 100%. Do you like own your East Coastness a lot? Like, are you like, well, listen, I'm an East Coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, like I've been in LA in September of this year, on September 17th of this year, not to brag, it'll be 10 years in LA.
Congrats.
Thank you. And yet, if someone asks me like, oh, like where are you from? I'm like, from New York. Where do I live? LA.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time because to me, I'm a New Yorker. I'm not an Angelino. Are you kind of like I'm a DC?
I don't feel that strongly about it.
Yeah, you're like too much, Josh.
No, but well, every New Yorker I know is exactly like that. So it's like you can't exactly. But there's certain things that I will never fully embody about the West Coast. Like if you go buy coffee, usually the barista's like chatty, nice, at least in my neighborhood.
Sure,
like, they're
I could
sweet.
see it. I could see it.
And there's been so many times where I go crazy, where I'm like in line to buy something, either a coffee or like a store or whatever, and they're taking their time.
I see.
With the transaction, or even if they're not chatty and even if they're not very nice, no sense of urgency, no sense of rushing. Like they don't care that there's a line of 15 people like standing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that
drives me nuts. Slow walking drives me nuts, but at least no one here really walks. You don't see it as much.
I'll die on that hill. I swear to God, to me, slow walking, and I think this is not too harsh, should be punishable by death. That is how I feel. Not too harsh. Not too harsh. I live in, one of the reasons that I live, in Venice is because it's very walkable. But the problem with that is you get stuck behind people who are like, holly jolly. By the time they get to their, like, it could be February, and by the time they get to their destination, it's Christmas time. Like, totally. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. I'm exactly like that. So there's just like certain temperamental things that I don't think I'll fully embrace for the West Coast, but I do love it. I know. And there's certain things I've gotten really into.
Wait, how many years in are you here?
6.
Oh, so you're OG here at this point.
I feel good about it in general.
Yeah, it's tough for me. Like I love living here.
Yeah.
Super stoked, big fan, and yet I identify as a New Yorker.
Yeah.
I think that actually this is a good question for you.
Okay.
Like in terms of identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You from knowing you and from hearing you on stage, there is a very diverse diaspora in your background.
Yeah.
Is that, how big of a part of you, not just in your stand-up, but you as a person, like how much does that factor into you and your identity?
Yeah, I think in general it does. Like obviously I run Hilarious Habibis with Lynn. Shout out Lynn.
Yeah, by the way, everyone go see Hilarious Habibis. Great show at the Hollywood Improv.
Always a good time. And then I think it's kind of subconscious almost, but like my high school was really diverse, which I kind of took for granted. And then I talked to just like other people who like didn't have that experience, and like it was pretty homogenous. And a lot of times people who had that experience were like, I didn't have that much fun, or like, or at least I wish I had something else. And like, I look back so fondly on my high school experience. Like I really do.
Did it go the same? I know you said you went to college in Philly. I assume the same thing, same diversity?
Not as diverse.
In Philly?
Well, in Philly, yeah, but the school itself wasn't as diverse.
I have a guess as to where you went. I'm not going to say it, but I have a guess.
Okay, let me say this one thing. The thing that bothered me the most about college was the wealth.
I now
and how
know
many
exactly,
rich people
I
had
exactly
to hang out with
school.
constantly.
Yeah.
Even the ethnic diversity didn't bother me as much. I was just like, holy shit. 19-year-olds are going out on the weekends and spending hundreds of dollars at these insane nightclubs.
Yeah, so I know where you went. Very prestigious.
Yeah, very prestigious.
Hard to get into. Lovely school.
Mm-hmm.
Tracks. I went to a school called.
Let's not name it. Also, I love this. I love this so much. They want credit more than anything, and we are just our lips are sealed.
Listen. I'm following your lead. Okay, I'm not this guy. I'm a steel trap.
Yeah.
I went to a place called Wash U. It's in St. Louis.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Are you familiar?
I thought of applying there, and then I didn't go visit, and then I just kind of didn't. But.
You were like, is St. Louis calling me? No. Okay.
My dad grew up in St. Louis. My Syrian dad grew up part of his life there.
And
so.
you could have come to college with me.
I know.
And you didn't. And now we're still friends anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. Wait. So your dad grew up in St. Louis?
Yeah.
Best thing he ever did was move to DC.
Right. That was the first American city he like touched down in when he immigrated here.
How old was he when he immigrated?
Pretty young, like 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't blame him for going to St. Louis at 7. He didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just to be clear for people listening and they're getting upset, I love St. Louis. It's great. Like I really am glad I went to school there. But I think if I'm like coming to the U.S. and you're like, what city do you choose?
Exactly.
I'm not going. You know what, guys? I forget New York. Forget LA.
Right.
I feel like I gotta go St. Louis.
And I forgot the story. Like I don't know why it happened that way, but it just did.
I mean, listen, he was 7. I don't think he was the one picking the
place
on the map.
But, yeah.
If he was, amazing story.
Yeah.
That his parents are like, listen, I know you're 7, but like, where do you want to be? You know?
We love you so much.
Yeah, exactly. At 7, I didn't get to pick what I was eating.
Right,
I was like, I'd like a sandwich. My mom was like, I bet you would. I wonder for you, because I've alluded to this a little bit already, but like, you do a lot of visual art too. Mm-hmm. And you've also done photography. Mm-hmm. Like, what made you choose of all these things? What made you be like, you know what? I'm going to go into these comedy clubs and tell jokes for a bunch of these assholes.
Yeah.
What made you go with that one?
So it was, like I said, kind of throughout my college journey, I was doing these technical fields of study, but I was also in my sketch group,
which I love. And do we want to name them, or
we can name the sketch group because we're not on bad terms. No. The sketch group is called Bloomers Comedy.
Bloomers, okay,
and it is a all-female sketch group.
Really?
Yes, and we have some amazing notable alumni, including Vanessa Bayer from SNL, who frequently came back to our shows on campus. Super sweet.
Love that.
Yeah, amazing. My junior and senior year, this group was kind of putting together more like professional like resources for the group, and they had us like they put some people in touch with like LA TV writers and comedians, and had like people come to our organization to like talk to us about.
So cool.
Yeah, it was really nice. So after I like kind of learned basically my junior year that you could actually make a career off of this.
I still haven't learned that, so that's good to know.
You definitely can't really make a career off of sketch comedy. Everyone don't do that.
Unless you're like one of 6 groups in history. Yeah, I think you're probably gonna
that's a tough one, but it was less that. It was more kind of like, well, I was in this sketch group when I was 21, but then when I moved to New York, I did this. I joined
SNL.
Yeah. I was a TV writer, I was an actor, I was a director, I was a producer. So like I kind of knew I want to do something like that. And in the sketch group, I felt like I was a better writer than a performer even. Like I really enjoyed the writing part.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I've seen you on stage. I think you're a very good performer.
Thank you. Many years in the
in the trenches,
exactly.
Doing my favorite open mics.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually technically moved to Los Angeles to write for TV, because a lot of the kind of like comedy writing stuff I learned in the sketch group, people were like, this is a potential career for you.
Yeah.
So I moved here to like pursue that. And then when I got here, I was like, okay, there's a few routes you can go if you want to do TV stuff.
Okay.
You can do improv. You can do stand-up. You can be an assistant, which was the one like route that I kind of swore off. I was just, maybe I have too much pride, but I was just like, I'm not going to work from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. for $15 an hour.
And you were picking a short day.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, and I just like, I had talked to people who were doing the assistant thing at the time, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. So what I did was I moved out here, got like a corporate job, and then I just did stand up.
Had you ever done stand up?
I did it a few times when I was in school, actually. Kind of like, I don't even like count it really, because it was such a layup. It was like like one of the co-ed fraternities did like a performing arts night, and you could kind of do whatever you wanted. And I was like, I've never tried this. I'll do this. So I did that a few times. Obviously crushed, like absolutely demolished. Probably to this day, like the most laughs I've ever gotten, which is hilarious. That's
we all heard about it over here. Yeah. Everyone's like, did you hear what Gena did? Yeah. Unbelievable.
So did that like a few times, and then I didn't really like hit the pavement until I got out here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. One of the things you said where you were just like, I don't know if I had like too much pride as far as like the assistant thing goes. But I do think that like Hollywood, while it is not the only place that does this, more so than other industries, I feel like makes you really eat crow. Like you got to eat a lot of humble pie in order to get anywhere. And I think that like there have been moments where I mentally investigate these avenues like you're talking about. I'm like, well, like, being an assistant or working in an agency and all that. When I first got here, and I was just like, I cannot do that. And like, I don't think I'm better than anyone else. I don't think anything like that. But I know in my heart, I was like, I cannot be made to feel like shit. So not that I was ever going to be a chef, but like when you think about how like chefs are treated, do you ever watch The Bear?
I did, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like I have friends that are chefs, but like The Bear does a great job showing it. Where like these like high level chefs are assholes, so, and I'm just like, I don't like being yelled at.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't think I could tolerate it, to be honest. Like
I'm not good at it
but
now.
It's so funny because we have a thick skin in such a different way. We have a thick skin in terms of like you can go to 1,000,001 open mics and do some of the most painful sets of your life, and like that just
I do that every day.
I don't think it would bother me in the same way. And I mean, this is a way you can do it. Like stand-up is an option. A lot of people don't want it, but I guess I did. So
yeah, I was gonna say, how's it working? Are you still loving it? It depends on the day. When you find me, I'm like, love this, and other days I'm like, why do I do this? I don't know. I don't know. I'm a monster.
Obviously the first few months doing comedy out here are pretty brutal. You don't know anyone. You're not good.
And open mics
suck.
Yeah, and there's no friendly face to look at and go, hey.
Right, exactly. So first few months are pretty terrible. But then after that initial hump, when I started meeting people, getting booked on any show, like whether if I booked 2 shows a month, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I mean, like that's honestly
even now it's amazing if you get 2 bookings.
Terrible. Yeah.
So I feel like the first 2 years I actually was pretty happy just because it felt so exciting. It felt like I'm doing it and I'm out here and I'm meeting people, whatever. And then I felt like year 3 and 4, I started to feel really depressed because I was like, okay, now the time is setting in. I've done this for what feels like a really long time, or at least I'm like trying to do it almost every day, and it's exhausting, and I don't see any payoff. And so during the pandemic, I tried to pivot. I tried to like TikTok, and
how'd it go?
Not great. I mean, like I had a few videos that did well, but I was like, I could tell like this is not for me. Wrote a few scripts, which I'm still happy I did. That actually was great. That was good for me.
Do you still want to be a writer?
Yeah.
Okay, so then it was great.
Yeah. So it was good to like, now I have a couple scripts in my back pocket.
Yeah. Wonderful. I love what you did with the ending of the first one. It's just just the way the arc. Excellent. Yeah.
So that was kind of like a tough time. And then once we kind of all got back, we're doing shows again, and like the momentum of like the comedy scene just like started back up again. I felt a lot better, and I do feel better now.
Yeah. I will say I think it changed post-pandemic. I think it changed for all of us and like how it worked. I think I was much more willing to like I'll choose some like East Side examples here, but like I was much more willing to like drive an hour in rush hour traffic to get to Lyric Hyperion, do a 4-minute set where it wasn't alt enough so the room was silent, and then like go to Tomato Pie afterward and bomb another show while people just want to eat their pizza.
Just because we're being a little controversial tonight, I hated that place.
Can I tell you, I think I've told this on the mic before, but I don't even give a shit. I'm saying it again.
Yeah.
There was a time where I went up and I was like, I'm going to do, because I had so many failures in that room.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to do material I know hits in front of an audience. I know it hits. So let me do it here. Silence.
Okay.
The person that gets up right after me, and this is not made up, this is not an exaggeration. His opening line is he goes, y'all ever notice that like vaginas are kind of just like dicks? Right? So you got like the clit, like that's a dick, right? And like the ovaries are like the nuts. Oh. It's just a penis. And I'm telling you, this room
exploded.
it was like Eddie Murphy's first special.
Yeah.
That whole room was like lit up, and I was like, over that?
Yeah.
Are you fucking?
My
I
God.
gave y'all gold.
I've had so many moments like that at that mic, and then like, but doesn't it feel so good when after like, I don't know,
when I stop going,
you're like, I don't need to do this.
Don't need it.
And it feels amazing. You're like, I didn't actually lose anything by not going to this fucking 4:00 mic where, what?
There's
for what?
There's this weird thing in art where people are like, the art is not as good if you didn't suffer for it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, that is bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't agree with any of that. So it's like kind of like it was so liberating to stop going to places that made me feel bad about myself. Mm-hmm. I will not name the specific club, though anyone in LA is going to guess what it is. Where like there's a club I used to go to in LA where like, you know, the big thing was you would hang in the front and smoke cigarettes until 2 a.m. while people said, you know, slurs of race and sexual preference and all kinds of things, and you just sit there as if it's cool, and we all have a good laugh about it, even though inside you're like, why the fuck am I here?
You know you're not a part of it.
I don't subscribe to these ideas that, you know, people are using the F word, which is not fuck, it's the other one, and the R word, which is not rabbits or rainbows. And you're just like sitting there like, why I don't want to fucking be here. Yeah. And I remember there was a moment where I was like, I'm not going anymore. I'm not going anymore.
So liberating.
It was amazing. Changed my life.
It's so great to say no. Like, it's so great to turn things down even. And
well, I don't do any of that. Oh, yeah. Someone's like, oh, yeah, can you do this set in the back of a barn? I'm like, well, yeah. It is funny. Comedy is this equalizer where, like, I'm not saying anyone's better than anyone else, but like, I don't want to make you blush, but like, you went to a great university. You are very well educated. You're a very smart individual. You're very talented at a lot of things. The person next to you can be someone who doesn't know the difference between a fork and a spoon. And like, you are both in the same situation. You're not better than the other one. And
by
vice
the
versa.
way, that person could be really fucking funny too.
By the way, I feel like we should get to our first segment. Are you ready for the Newly Friend game? The first segment is called the Newly Friend game. It's like the Newlywed game, but with friends. I am going to ask you a question. You're going to write your answer down. Don't say it out loud. Okay. And then I'm going to write what I think it could be. And then we're going to flip our boards and see if we got it right. Okay. Let's not say flash it because I'm not taking any clothes off for anyone who's just listening.
That's for next episode.
I was going to say, we got to wait. Once we know each other better, I'll show a little skin.
All nudes.
Now, there was a little bit of research done ahead of time on you. A hint of research. And it appears that you have a habit, which I share, which is you do a lot of eating and drinking in your car and in your bed. That is what the research showed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So given that, we need to do some research for these segments. We can't just come in with nothing. Given that, my question for you, and again, write your answer down. Don't say it out loud. We're going to stick with the car because I think we're going to get some weirder items. Okay. What is the weirdest thing you have eaten in the car, preferably while driving, but if it's super weird not while driving, we'll take it. One, two, three. Flip. Rita's Gelati.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though? I mainly did this because you live on the west side.
Do I know? Well, I know Rita's.
You know
like
Rita's.
The famous Rita's.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I brought this up because the only remaining Rita's ice cream place is on the west side.
Wait, so talk to me. So you're eating the gelato. Are we talking like your spoon cupping?
Well, to recap, and maybe people listening don't know, a Rita's Gelati is actually it's a 2-part ice cream item. The bottom is soft serve. The middle of it is shaved ice. Like a flavored shaved ice of your choice. After this?
Yeah, let's go.
And then so good. And then they top it off with the soft serve again. I drove from the east side to the west side all the way to Rita's because I was craving Rita's. It doesn't happen very often.
Wow.
But I grew up with it. There was a Rita's kind of around the corner from my house in D.C.
I thought Rita's was very Philly.
It is.
Yeah.
So
that's the first place I had it.
I don't get these deep cravings often, but I did just a few weeks ago, and I made a embarrassingly long drive after work to go get it. It's a very small store.
Okay.
I walk in, I order my thing, and it was the kind of situation where like there's one table in there. There's one table with like 2 chairs.
And no one else is there.
And I asked my boyfriend to go with me, and he wasn't willing to make the drive, and I was coming from work. So
we're going to have to talk about
We're going to have to talk to him.
Because as they say on TikTok, if he could, he would.
But I got this beautiful thing of ice cream, and I'm like, am I just going to sit alone in this really sad tiny store where it's like 2 employees and me? Like, there's more employees than there are guests. Do I need to like eat this ice cream all by myself? So I ate it in the car.
Well, but you're parked, not driving.
Parked.
Okay. Listen.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there. I made the opposite choice of you recently at a poke place where I ate my poke. There were 3 employees and just me. And I got to tell you something. It is as awkward as it seems.
It is. Yeah.
It's terrible.
I do think I've eaten poke in the car, though.
Yeah, well, so I literally just did that right before Tonight on Ice.
Oh.
The Hollywood Improv.
There we go. Sometimes you're on the go. Comics are on the go. It's not my
know.
fault.
So here's what I wrote down. I got it wrong. I wrote down cereal in a bowl with milk.
That's a good guess. That is obviously more ballsy.
It's
That's
very,
ballsier than anything.
Very. It's intense.
Milk, but
I know someone who used to do that.
Not far off from something I would do.
I know someone who used to do that regularly. And I was like, what the fuck?
Where does the milk go after you're done? Like
he just slurps it out of the bowl. Wow. Which I get. Listen, some cereal leaves the milk great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're having like Cocoa Krispies, like get in the mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Excellent stuff.
That's
but
nuts.
like the audacity.
Yeah.
To drive with a bowl full of milk?
Also,
get out of here.
Again, like back to my ice cream situation, like once it's done, it's done. There's nothing else you need to, like, you still have like a bunch of milk in your car too.
I find the whole thing odd, frankly.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do the same question for me. Okay. And so this is the problem. You're going to be shooting in the dark a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. But just know I am an adventurous eater. Okay. And I take some risks. So what is the weirdest thing that I've eaten in the car? And I'll just tell you right now, I ate this somehow while driving. So I'm going to tell you that. That's not going to give you any hints because it's weird. 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh, I love soup dumplings. I love soup. It's a great cast.
Yeah.
I had one of those to-go like metal things of pasta with a bunch of sauce and shrimp in it and ate it while I was driving.
Yeah.
And now, do I recommend that? No. And for any listeners
Stay safe,
at home,
guys.
don't do this. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
That's solid. I think I've done that one too. Pasta, yeah.
The worst part about that, I have zero regrets about it.
Zero regrets. Were you on your way to something? Were you in a rush?
I was I had 2 sets that night and I was really, really hungry and I was running late. And if I didn't eat, I wasn't going to eat until 10. And I understand how old I sound, but like I don't want to eat dinner at 10 p.m.
No, and it's so tough. Like people they don't really, like my mom judges me all the time for the food in the car thing. And it's like, I am out at peak dinner times. Yeah. And you're on the go.
Let me tell you something. If you're ever eating crazy shit at dinner and your mom judges you call the pod, okay? And we'll tell you like, you're fine here.
Do a big defense.
Yeah. It's the one difference that you and I have, and I'm going to like draw a distinction here. Yeah. There's no judgment.
No judgment.
I am less of a food in bed person.
Yeah.
Not because I have an issue with the idea of it. I don't really care. But I will tell you that one time, and I'm blowing up her spot, and she's going to be annoyed, but I don't care. There was one time I came home, and Jess admittedly had a decent amount to drink.
Okay.
I walk into her eating chicken nuggets and French fries in bed, and instead of eating them out of the cases that are made to hold them, she had like dumped them onto the bed and was like eating them.
No, okay.
She was drunk. She was drunk.
Yeah.
But I'm also just like, honey, now I'm gonna be in like nugget sheets.
Yeah. Also, you have a big, nice apartment. Like, there's a lot of places to eat here. The one thing I say to defend myself about the food in bed thing is I live in a studio apartment. My bed is my couch. Do you ever eat sitting here?
I only eat sitting here.
Okay. You do have a table, though, which I do not have.
Yeah, coffee table. Yeah.
But that's my situation. You eat in front of the TV. My bed is in front of the TV. My bed's also the couch. That's where I'm coming from.
Well, okay. So you mentioned you have a boyfriend. If you're like, hey, like come over, let's order in or something.
Yeah.
Are you both just eating on the bed?
No. he judges me.
Oh, he won't do
just as hard, or if not harder than my mother. He thinks it's disgusting. But he
Harder?
also doesn't live in a studio apartment. We live separately.
Okay, so at the very least then, if he's like, we're going to order in, you come over here, we'll eat at the table.
Yes, we always, and actually no, if he comes over to my place too, even in my small place, like my habits are so much better when he's around.
Yeah.
I will clean up after myself better. We will eat at the kitchen counter. I have a very small kitchen counter,
but one that one can hypothetically eat at.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you an opposite situation. You can put your board down, by the way. That's the whole segment.
Oh,
I know we loved it while it was here, and we're sad it's gone. The one thing I'm gonna give you, and because you said you live separately.
Yes.
Okay. When Jess and I started, like, after we had lived together for a while, because we lived together, we accidentally moved in together in 2020. So we've lived together for almost 4 years, more than 4 years.
Yeah.
Your habits start to get worse.
Yeah.
Okay. So I used to be, I was like in my head every day. I'm like, be the guy that she always pictured she would be with.
Mm-hmm.
Be the guy that cleans up after himself. Be the guy that keeps the apartment clean. Be the guy that makes the bed and changes the sheets.
Yeah.
Man, 4 years deep, she'll just be like, what's that plate? I'm like, which one? She goes,
oh, and you're even messier than her, you'd say?
No. So, okay. I'm gonna die on this hill. Okay.
Yeah.
Listeners know that I've died on this hill before. I'm gonna do it again.
Do it again.
She cleans much more than me. However, she is messier than me.
Wait, I think I have the same dynamic in my relationship.
Which one of you is me and which one of them is her?
It's the man is the man and the woman is the woman.
Okay. So you clean more, but you're messier.
More, and I clean deeper.
She cleans much deeper
Yeah.
than me. Yeah.
And I'll spend Saturdays are my cleaning day, and I'll spend 4 hours.
Those are her
scrubbing.
Days.
I'll just
she loves
scrub.
it. She loves it.
But yeah, like you're saying, I probably am cleaning up more after my messy self. Also, my boyfriend's better about cleaning more periodically. So like he will never leave a dish in the sink right after eating. Like he'll clean it right away. He cleans everything more periodically, but he cleans very quickly, which in my opinion means it's not a good clean. You know? And so I leave things, I procrastinate, but when I clean everything, I clean my whole place, like from front to back.
Yeah, so I'm him. I hate saying things that are like a gender thing, but it is interesting that we both play the same roles.
It is partially a gender thing, and also I want to hear your take on this. And I think my boyfriend's right. He says that women are much dirtier in the bathrooms.
That's correct. That's 100% correct.
They leave bathrooms in shambles, and it's truly a train wreck. But I think women leave kitchens a little nicer and living rooms a little nicer.
I'll agree with that too.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say, and I think. I mean, listen, she's not going to listen to this pod. And if she does, I don't think she'll be too upset because this is
she's very supportive.
This is a real thing. Okay. I never knew before living with a woman that like y'all went on hair wash days. Y'all like take the clump of hair and like put it on the side of the shower on the wall. Like that is pardon my language to all our female listeners. I love each and every one of you, or our male listeners with long hair. That's the fucking weirdest shit.
I never do that intentionally. Do people do?
Yeah, because she's gonna grab it when she gets out of the shower, but sometimes she forgets, and then there's just like a little monster on the wall.
Oh, that's crazy. No, I've never done that.
You also have slightly shorter hair.
I do have shorter hair.
Not short hair. For those that are listening and not viewing, I would say it's about shoulder
it's about
length.
bob-ish.
Is that okay? I'm not good at this. It's a bob? Lovely. It's a great bob.
Yeah, great bob.
I feel weird that it's called a bob because that's like a man's name. Can we give it a different? Should we have a different name? A bobette.
Oh, so are you hearing about this? About the fuck ass bobs?
No.
It's like what people say. They're like, she has a fuck ass bob. If a woman has a bob that's like so bowl, like very just like round and circular.
Like that. It's like, what is it, 60s, 50s, the weird?
Yeah, like when you look like you have a helmet on. That's a fuck ass bob, I'm learning.
Well, okay, you gotta keep me in the loop here.
I know, right?
Just an email, a text. Give me something.
And I was so
this.
worried about having a potential fuck ass bob that I perm my hair, which is why it's a little wavy, a little curly. I usually have stick straight hair, and so I was like, I can't have a fuck ass bob if I'm like rocking the waves,
When you're because I feel this way when you're going on stage, do you ever think to yourself, like, this happened to me about 3 weeks ago? I was about to go on stage. It's like a decent sized room, and I like woke up that day. No matter what I did, I was like, I don't look good today. Like I just was like not
low
loving
on
it.
sleep.
I just I don't know. It was like maybe the bags in my eyes were bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe my like hair felt like poofy. I don't know why.
Absolutely, I have those
But I was
days.
like, and just like, and right before I go on stage, I'm like, dude, you gotta snap out of this shit.
Yeah.
You're not on America's Next Top Model. But I definitely had moments where I was like in the set
a
and
little
I like
self-conscious.
Dude, I did this in the set. Like for those listening, I like started like futzing with my like finding ways to kind of like futz with my hair, like just because I was like, is it so poofy that like maybe it's standing? Is it standing?
Oh my gosh.
I was like so deep in my head about it.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that?
Yeah, I do. And even when I'm not like consciously thinking of that, I do find myself just kind of as a tick, as like a performance tick, like just kind of like hair behind the ears, smoothing it out a little bit. But also sometimes it's like you got to do something with your hands.
Well, yeah, because you could do the weird thing where you hold the mic like this, which I think we all do sometimes. Yeah. But like it is a thing where it's
You're
like,
like,
okay.
am I not giving them enough?
You
know?
You
and
know.
when I talk to like regularly, I'm not like the most expressive person with my body. So
yeah, I'm too expressive. Yeah, the relationship I'm in right now
is the theater kid in you.
Yeah, 100%. The first time this relationship I'm in right now is the first time someone ever told me that I need to do a little less because she knows every single thought I'm having on my face. And I was like,
wait, Morin's like that too. My boyfriend, like
his name is Morin.
Morin, and he drives me nuts because we'll watch movies together, sitting side by side.
Sure.
And I'm not looking at him. I'm looking at the movie.
He's me.
And I can feel his face moving next to me, like out of my periphery. I can see him going. And it's so distracting. And sometimes he's really good at like forecasting what's going to happen in a movie.
Oh my God,
he's a writer
me.
too. Yeah, so he'll like be ahead of it, and I'll see him out of the corner of my eye making a face, and I'm like, you're driving me crazy.
This is Jess's impression of me, and sorry for those listening and not watching. Go watch it on YouTube. Jess's impression of me is this.
Yep, that's Warren. Yep, he does exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah, and which is the thing is like I can't control it, but like if we're in a fight and I look and I do, I try to hide it. Someone's doing these like
the glare. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll like do something with my eye, and she'll be like, "Let me finish," and I'm like, I didn't say anything.
I do glares too, but a lot of times it's actually not because I'm upset or judgy or whatever. Yeah. Like sometimes I'm just really tired, and my eyes kind of like are doing this thing, and I'm like, and people are like, "Why are you?"
Are you mad at me?
Do you hate me?
Do you hate me?
Yeah.
Do you hate me? Yeah, the favorite phrase we have in this house is, why do you hate me? So like, for example, if this literally happened the other day, I was like, she goes, you want to go get ice cream? I said, hell yeah, we go. And she doesn't order anything, which by the way, should be a war crime. Okay. Like
just like how my boyfriend didn't want to come with me to Rita's.
But imagine moment
coming
and not ordering.
Yeah.
That is war crime.
That's next level.
That's the Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
I think like I'm telling you, I got like the UN called me and they were like, she did what? I was like, yeah, she did this. She doesn't order. And I look at her and I go, why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? Just order something. She goes, I don't want anything. I go, you bamboozled me.
Because that's so much more insulting because she's kind of like, well, I know this fat fucking fuck wants ice cream, and I'm gonna lure him into this trap.
She bamboozled me into this shit. Let me tell you something. If she had said, "Do you want to go get ice cream? I'm not hungry. I'm not gonna get anything. But I'm happy to go with you." Then I would have been like, "I'm fine. I don't need any. I'm fine. I don't need."
No, but the other way is so manipulative.
I've never felt betrayal like that in my life.
And that was her plan the whole time? Like she truly
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Listen, she can make up things about and I looked at the menu.
You did something on the walk there that really pissed her off, and now she's being passive aggressive.
It was a 4-minute drive. I don't know what I could have said.
What are you gonna say?
But I think what she said afterward, as I made a huge thing of it, like a scene in the store, she was like, I don't know, nothing was calling to me on the menu. I said, well, guess what? You know what? If you make me go there, you make some outbound calls. If they're not calling you, you call them.
Yeah.
Okay? And you get a scoop. Get a kid scoop. All right?
Yeah.
I'm paying.
Sample
Throw
something.
it out.
Yeah.
Throw it out. Get a scoop. Hold it. We'll laugh and talk while I eat.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat a single thing. You throw it out. Waste those $4 and don't hurt my feelings. That's like...
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, all right. I hate to do this because I'm having a blast and a half, but I feel like it's time for the lightning round. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
So the lightning round, it is, I keep this on an index card because it makes me feel like a late night talk show host.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, my name starts with J and I'm a straight white male. Put me in, coach. Nice. But it's 5 fast questions. They do not at all have to be fast answers. They're just the last 5 questions we end every episode with.
Perfect.
Question 1.
Yep.
What is a favorite ritual of yours? So for example, I love brewing tea in the morning.
I know it's kind of boring, but I really like cleaning my house on my first day off in the week. Like,
not boring.
I have off Friday, Saturdays, and like Friday I get to clean in. I do.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I don't understand it. I think a lot of our listeners probably do, but I don't understand that. Like,
your feet are up.
If someone's like, you have a day off. What are you gonna do? Literally, I could name no less than 150 things before I'd say cleaning. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll do things I don't even want to do before cleaning.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'll go I'll walk someone else's dog.
Right.
I just don't want to clean.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It just kind of like it makes me feel like I have my life together all of a sudden after like a chaotic week, and I'm like, okay, reset.
That makes sense because so I never feel that way that I have my life together. So I think we're fine.
You're a lost cause.
Yeah, no, 100%. Question 2: what is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
More and my boyfriend, because we don't live together.
By the way, love that name.
Our running bit is that I have a very hard time leaving his house at night because we live separately, and I always go to his house after work because it's closer to my job.
Okay, reasonable.
And so we both like to be up very late, but he likes to not be up as late as I am. It really bothers him that I always drag out our time together.
Because you don't want to, because you love him.
I know, but as long as possible, to the point where it is super annoying because he will fully have like a doctor's appointment the next morning or anything. And I will stall, like kind of like how little children do when like it's like time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Mommy, like put your pajamas on, and like I will stall. A big thing I always do, it's like it is the running bit, is I will be like, we need to do the New York Times mini crossword.
I do that before bed.
Every night before bed.
I do that.
And so my bags will be packed. I'll be like walking out the door and I'm like, oh, we didn't do the crossword. And it drives him nuts.
But like in a sweet way. Like
Yeah.
lovable nuts.
Yeah.
Do you not ever, I'm not trying to pry into your relationship, do you not ever just stay over in those instances?
I don't usually stay over during the week. I don't know. I'm just, again, back to like the routines, the ritual thing. Like I don't know what it is.
I mean, I'll tell you this. They don't call me Hot Take Lanzet for nothing. My hot take here, I don't love sharing a bed.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
I'm very particular about my sleep too. So I think that's a big reason. That's a big
too.
thing. I need the least amount of like distracting factors.
I am now a light sleeper, and which I don't like. Didn't want it.
Didn't ask for it.
No, just became that way as I became an adult. And she could so much as have a dream that's loud and I'm up. You know what I mean?
Her eyelids are opening and you're like, ah!
Yeah, I'm like, stop being so loud.
Yeah.
All right. Question 3. What is a very controversial opinion that you have?
Extroverts at work, in the office. I can't.
You can't?
I can't. People who are extroverted at work drive me absolutely insane.
Now, walk us through this a little bit.
Yeah.
So what you mean the people who are like coming in, want to hear about how your weekend was?
Yes.
Okay.
Like you can tell people, like there's people at work and like their main source of like life at work is being chatty with everyone, learning about everyone's day, telling them about their weekend. They want to hear about your weekend. And I don't blame them. Maybe they don't do much after work, and so they don't go out, and they're not doing other things. And so like this is their social time, partially their social time. And number one, I'm not a morning person. I don't do well in the first half of the day in general. Like my mind wakes up after 4 p.m. fully.
Yeah, we're the same.
Yeah. That's why we're comics.
Yeah. Don't care for the mornings.
And so there's just like a few people that I've worked with that like they really want to talk. And I don't feel like I'm on enough. I don't feel like I'm giving them the chat they deserve. And then they're also very distracting.
You're not getting as much work done. I'll say that. Now, I'd say that on behalf of the extroverts in the office. That is me. But I am fully aware it is, number one, annoying. And number two, deeply distracting.
And some people just really have no concept of, they don't, like I'll do the little like kind of passive aggressive things where I'll like spin my chair around, start typing again, and they won't Some of them don't. They don't get it. Or they'll do this annoying thing where like a minute will go by and they'll be like, oh, I'll let you get back to work. And it's like, now you're like putting it on me.
You let me get back to work? How about you start working?
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Yeah.
I don't think you've logged onto your computer yet.
Yeah.
If there were timestamps, you didn't put it in.
Nothing.
I consider myself an introverted extrovert.
Okay.
So I love being social. I love talking to people. I love doing all that. It's a real joy for me, and I derive a lot of fun from it. I do need time by myself.
Totally.
In order for that tank
That's
to
healthy.
fill back up.
That's healthy.
Yeah,
well, I hate to break it to you, Josh, but because I'm an introvert, I kind of hated us talking to each other for the last hour and a half. This was painful.
I'm going to tell you something. And you know what? I haven't even logged into my computer yet. So, like, we haven't even started the day.
Obviously, I'm kidding because it is after 4 p.m.
Oh, that's true. And listen, we only have 2 more questions to go, and you are out of here. Okay? Listen, I already called Lauren, and he's like, we're going to get our goodbye started as soon as you leave.
And we're going to go to Rita's first.
Oh, please. I'm jealous. All right. Question 4. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there one particular moment that really sticks with you?
Oh, my gosh. Constantly. Even though this is a business where like you do have to be good and talented and be good at your craft to get far, like it's also about who you know and who's willing to vouch for you and so on and so forth. In the last year, I've done some really amazing festivals with my show. Hilarious
Netflix
Habibis.
is a joke.
There we go.
Hilarious Habibis. Netflix is a joke. Amazing. Very well deserved.
Very, very amazing festival. We also did SF Sketchfest. We did the New York Comedy Festival. And we did.
It couldn't happen to 2 people I like more. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a great year overall. But so like we got kind of into those festivals through connections from the Improv where I work.
Yeah, but like,
and I know I still had to like apply and like send a whole thing and like do the application, but there was a part of me kind of like, does someone who maybe didn't have that connection deserve it just as much, if not more, that like maybe should be in my place?
Yeah,
I feel a lot of that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to tell you not to feel those things. The one thing I try and think about in those experiences is like, I remember I was in this big competition about for short films for the scripts, and I made it into the top 10 2 years in a row. And the second year, they don't tell you who the top 3 are, but like you can kind of guess. And I was not in there.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Well, I liked your script the best." And what I said to them is, I was like, "In this industry, you need to be undeniable. It doesn't matter what connections you have." You need to be undeniable. And for the people where you're like, well, maybe they deserve the spot over me, but then they weren't undeniable either. So like, that's kind of like what I tried to remind myself. Yeah. And that's not at all me giving you guidance, because I feel all these things too. But I remember that I had to remind myself of that, because I was just like, okay, like I wasn't, my script wasn't undeniable. It was deniable. And in fact, it got denied. So good times. Question 5, final question. What is your favorite tea? And if you do not drink tea a lot, what is your favorite comfort?
Definitely my favorite tea has to be green tea, because
Ooh, okay. Any particular kind?
Is oolong is a type of green tea, right?
Oolong is its own tea, but
it tastes similar?
There are some that taste similar.
Okay.
If you had said oolong, we could have had an oolong party today. I love oolong.
Oh, I love oolong. There's also, I don't know if this is a subcategory of oolong, but jasmine, is it oolong jasmine?
So oolong is a kind of tea, and then jasmine is a kind of green tea. Okay. But I love, God, just the fact that we're talking tea is lovely.
Talking teas.
So you like oolongs and you like jasmine teas?
Yes, because
excellent choices.
I don't drink tea very often. Usually, if I'm drinking tea, I want it to be caffeinated.
Sure.
Not at 9 p.m. like right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like black teas are a little too much for me.
Listen, I think you picked excellent teas. I love both of those. Well, that's the podcast. How do you feel?
That's the pod. I feel great.
Awesome. You're welcome back anytime. For y'all who haven't gone, if you live in LA, go see Hilarious Habibis. It is so amazing. And go check out Gena's artwork, which like I brought up a couple times. Really, really impressive.
Okay, this is crazy, because I'm like, when you said you did research, I was like, I wonder what he's done. But you went to my website and you visited a page of mine that I didn't even know anyone had touched in years.
We're gonna wrap this up. Gena, thank you. You're welcome back anytime.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much. I had a blast.
That was Gena B. Jones. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok at Juicy Gena. This episode was produced by Jude Crowner. It was edited by Martin Alvarez. Our theme song and additional music are by Oliver Hymack. Our cover art was done by Neil Fraser with photography by Matt Mazisco.
Social media by Dia Villegas. Please write a review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts and wherever else you can. You can send any questions, comments, newly friend game suggestions, or tea suggestions to steepcombos@gmail.com or tweet us at steepcombos. I'm Josh Lanzet, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Josh Lanzet. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping.
Because it's so funny when people tell me about their high school experience, they're always like, I had nothing to do. So like the activity was like we'd go to the mall, and then we got sick of like sorry, are you
feeling
triggered?
attacked? I'm feeling attacked. Shut it down.
Yeah, okay, we're done.
Yeah.